We've had some big misses in the transfer portal this year, y'all. I mean, that's not breaking news to any of you guys. Most notably right now, Caden Salter, Jaheim Oatis. I think we'd count those guys as misses right now, although there's still 7 games left to correct that, right? Come on, guys. Let's get this thing in order. But we've lacked leadership also because we've missed on some of these veteran players coming in here, albeit the offensive line has been awesome. We hit with the offensive line. That's great. But we've also seen a lot of our impact this year come from younger players and players that were recruited out of high school by this staff. And it's got me asking the question, is Coach Prime actually better at developing high school talent than maybe he even thought or anticipated? Should we see a slight correction in his priorities and strategy moving forward, especially with only one transfer portal window now? I think you'll see less movement. And again, you want to talk about establishing a culture. You spend so much more time with these high school guys. Sometimes it's over the span of years as opposed to maybe months with transfer portal players at most. So you know that there's a big buy-in when it comes to uh, the values and being a good culture fit, right? For these high school guys. I think that there's just a better hit rate when it comes to making sure you get guys that fit your culture from high school. Now, talent level, that remains to be seen, but I've liked what we've seen from our young high school recruited players. Y'all like, subscribe, let me know your thoughts on this in the comments, but take a look at our top 4 graded players on offense this year or this week against BYU. Draylon Miller, who should be a running back, by the way, true sophomore player. Marshall Falk, great job. I'll eat my crow on Draylon Miller, man. Oh my God, he kept us in this game. He was fantastic. Yo-Yo Atia, second-year player out of Europe. Gunnar White doing a good job with him, and I think he should be in line to compete for a starting position next year. Michael Welsh, an impact true sophomore player, and of course Jordan Seaton. Hey, he might be him and Damon Greaves, they're fighting over who's the best player on the team, but it's going to be Jordan Seaton, right? Now, these guys didn't grade out amazing, but you're still seeing impact from Quentin Gibson every game. And, Omari and Miller, he was the worst graded player. We know that he's way more impactful than that, like even against BYU. I think he had a drop and, penalties. So that's why his grade is so low. But he's a guy that's been developed here into a number one weapon at CU by this coaching staff. And Quanell Farrakhan, he's also gotten a little bit of time, just one snap in this game, but we've seen him on the field more often than that. So you're looking at 6-7 guys that have played a substantial role in this offense that have been developed or that are developing right out of high school playing for this team. When you look at the defense, it's a little bit less in terms of the numbers, which is concerning in the fact that we have a lot of veterans here and our defense is just so poor. But nonetheless, true freshman London Merritt out of IMG, highest graded player on the defense this past week against BYU. 3 tackles, a pressure, a hurry. He has looked the part. Alexander McPherson from IMG as well. These guys have looked like very, very promising edges. He had 3 tackles as well. Both of them had 1 stop in this game. And then Brandon Davis Swain, he's had a rough year so far. It's great to see him get in the rotation. Hopefully he can start to turn the corner in the second half of his redshirt freshman season. But he's somebody that I'm still very, very high on and excited to see how he develops. Then when you look at special teams, Alexander McPherson with the tackle, Isaiah Harge with 2 tackles. Now Isaiah Harge, guy brought out of high school. St. Thomas Aquinas, this is his 3rd year, his first year where he's starting to get substantial playing time in comparison to what he's had in years past. So I've liked what we've seen from him, and of course, Quentin Gibson is returning punts and kicks for this team. Really like the impact that he's had as a true freshman. When you look at right now the 2025 class, okay, it was 15 guys. It was 15 guys ranked 38th in the country with only 15 guys. That's saying something. And right now, I think, again, we're very bullish on Julian Lewis, Chauncey Gooden, Cardi Smith. especially with how Gunnar White has the offensive line playing. I think that we can be confident that those guys are going to develop nicely. Julian Lewis might start as soon as maybe next week against Iowa State, depending on how this TCU game goes. Again, we've talked about one in Merritt, Quanell Farrakhan. Adrian Wilson's out of here, but replace him with true freshman corner Noah King. I want to see him play when he's back from injury. Christian Hudson, he might be a year away. We talked about Quentin Gibson. Mantrez Walker might be a year away. TJ Branch, dude, this guy blew up the spring game. He's got size, speed, and a tenacity, an aggression, a violence to him that our secondary desperately needs. I would love to see him get playing time once he's back from injury. Alexander McPherson, we talked about him. And then really it's just our tight ends, Zane D'Souza, Corbin Lejour. They might be a year away. So some of these are like incomplete grades. Kyle Carpenter's been on special teams a little bit from Buford, but this is a group that I feel like is a very, very nice nucleus, core group of players to build around. And again, they embody the values, the culture that Coach Prime is trying to instill. And I think this is like how you develop your leadership, right? Your leadership core. I think this group has lacked leadership, or this team. And I think the up and coming leaders on this team, for the most part, again, we'll always be in the transfer portal, but I think a lot of these guys that are going to establish themselves as leaders for years to come, they're going to be guys that were recruited out of high school here. And again, when you look at some of the guys that have had success from high school, that were recruited out here from high school, that have gone on to other programs, I mean, of course, Dylan Edwards is probably the most notable one, but even a guy like Asad Wasim, spent a couple years here, and now in his third year in college football, he's like one of FAU's primary targets. He has developed well, and I think that Coach Prime and his staff, they're better at developing this young high school talent than maybe even they anticipated. And again, I think you'll see less guys in the transfer portal because of there only being one period now, and it begs the question, like, should Coach Prime actually be diving into prioritizing high school recruiting a little bit more? I'm not saying get rid of the transfer portal. No, we can still find hits there. I mean, look at our offensive line right now, but I think it might be easier to build a culture and retain and build upon play year after year when your core and your leadership core is kind of based out of high school recruiting. Now, I know it can be frustrating sometimes, man, like Taj McCoy would have been great to have him around too, right? But when guys you recruit out of high school, they might want a pay raise at some point. But much like the NFL, I think players, agents, they all notice when guys get their pay bumps from the teams that drafted them, when the guys that are drafted get extended rather than traded away, right? Or just flat out hit free agency. And sometimes, man, when you're dropping big bags on transfer portal players to come out here, be mercenaries, plug and play, and it doesn't work out, it might have you reassess things a little bit and saying, hey, if we could keep, the couple $1,000,000 that maybe we missed out on to retain some of our high school talent over the last couple of years that has left, where would we be right now? It's interesting to think about. And you might, again, I don't really know how this transfer portal contract stuff goes right now. I don't, but I would imagine that some of these players are a little bit more affordable at the front end than going after and trying to get them in the transfer portal as well. So we'll have to see how this goes. But imagine the way that we've recruited and developed high school players if we were to bring in 25 compared to 15 as of last year. We're at 13 right now. Let's double that. See what happens now. The development, it might take time. Building through the transfer portal, it can fix some things. It can be a Band-Aid over some things, right? But again, maybe Coach Prime should consider this more. I think he's shown that he's like rather really good at it. I don't know. Y'all let me know your thoughts. Have a wonderful day. Let's go, Buffs. Want to give a quick shout out to the flagship sponsor of David Talks Buffs and David Talks Broncos YouTube channel, and that is Profit X, America's #1 sports prediction market. This is peer-to-peer sports prediction where players play against each other, like you and me, instead of a sports book versus the house. You almost always get the best odds on any play that you're looking to make. They operate in over 40 states, including Texas, where I reside. So use the promo code Dave and claim up to $200 in profit cash for all plays in the first 30 days of playing on the site. Terms and conditions apply. Go ahead, click the link in the description, sign up using my promo code Dave on Profit X, and join me on America's #1 sports prediction market.